You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So I am looking forward to tackling the topic today of how to achieve anything you set your mind to. And I am absolutely convinced that after you hear these 10 steps that have been passed down to us throughout the ages, you too will begin to believe that you can achieve any of your dreams, any of your goals, any of the hopes that you've set for yourself in your life. And I hope that after listening to today's show, you set even bigger goals, that you start to create new goals, ones that you will feel give you purpose, that will give you meaning, and that you will begin to feel so much more proud, happy, enthusiastic about the life that you live. Because that's truly what I want for people. I talk about that all the time, but it's the truth, is that I want to help people get well. I want to help them lose the weight. I want to help them look better, feel better from every different angle. But it's because once I'm able to do that, I know that their self-confidence, their self-image, everything will have improved in their life. That then will give them a new mindset. That mindset of a winner will allow them to attract more of what they want in their life. They'll become a bigger believer. Why? Because they've overcome something complicated in their life. And if you begin to accumulate wins in life, you start to realize that, hey, if I could do this, maybe I could do this. It's not in the same exact field, but what's it going to take? Well, it's going to take the same type of effort and plan that I put in before. But I know that I can carry that over into different areas of my life. And it's why I say to you right now, if you have not planned your future, if you do not know what you want your goals to be, you have to work on that first. Because if you don't have goals, if you don't have dreams, you're going to drift in life. That means you're going to become part of the bigger picture of the world itself, someone else's life. And what I want you to do is, yes, you are one with the world, but you are also your own unique individual who gets to experience this world in their own way. So set big dreams, set goals. You should have hopes and desires in life. There's nothing wrong with that. Anybody who told you that you're not supposed to have those things is trying to get you to play small in life. They're trying to get you to hold yourself back. And it's that crabs in the bucket based theory, where a lot of people don't want to see you take it to the next level. They feel like you'll leave them behind. Trust me, you don't have to leave anyone behind. As you grow, here's what can happen. You can begin to lift others up. So what I found is this: as people become more and more successful in life, they have the means, they have the time, they have the opportunity to reach down, to pick other people back up, to teach them. You're able to enrich other people's lives, but in order to do that, you have to fill your cup first. It's very difficult to pour out of an empty cup. It can become challenging to give and give and give and never receive yourself. That's why there's two parts to that equation. You give and you receive. You give and you receive. My goal in life is to try to outgive, to give 10x what I receive. It doesn't mean that I don't want to receive. It just means that when I do receive, I can open up my arms. I can say, I feel worthy of receiving because I've tried to give more than I receive. And if you feel like you're giving 10x the value in everything that you do, 10x, that's a great way to look at it. So you don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel shameful about wanting big things. Do big things. Reach out, help other people, serve more people, do what you're passionate about, live your purpose. You will receive. You will receive after you give. The giving comes first. That's part of the law of reciprocity, and there's nothing wrong with that. So don't just think that you're going to take and take and take. I don't think the world works that way, and that's okay, and that's a good thing. We're here to serve our fellow man and woman. Our job is to take care of one another in our own way. Okay, so what I want to do now, though, is I want you to just, hopefully you understand, dream big dreams. That's what it's about. I should have probably named the podcast this today, but really, the goal is this. It's how to achieve anything, absolutely anything in your life that you want when you set your mind to it. And here's how we go about it. There are 10 steps. I've taken these 10 steps from all the books that I've read over the years, all the self-improvement, even before I started to get deep into functional medicine and integrative health, I was studying mindset. I was studying self-improvement because so much of what needed to improve in my own life in order to get well was my mind. My mind was not healthy. My body was really unhealthy, but my mind was just as unhealthy. I had so many bad programs running through my mind when I was younger that didn't serve me. So I had to work on those things. I didn't meet a lot of these mentors in person, but the nice thing is I was able to listen to, back then it was CDs. I was able to listen to all these CDs in my car or just wherever, walking around. And then I got to read a lot of books, right? So reading books, I got to study it, I got to absorb it, then I got to practice. Sometimes I did well and sometimes I didn't do well, and that's all part of the journey, right? We learn. We're going to go through that today. So let's dive right into it. How to achieve anything you set your mind to. The first one is this, and I've talked about it before, but I want to get it out of the way first, okay? You need to invest in a plan. You need to put a little bit of what we call skin in the game. Believe in yourself enough to invest in a plan, whatever it is. If you want to have a better financial-based career, invest in a plan. Whether it's an online course, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a coaching group, whether it's a mastermind, invest in something. That tells your brain, listen, I mean business. I've invested money that I may not even have business investing right now. I don't have that much money, you might be saying to yourself. Well, when you put a little bit of skin into the game, you're more likely to follow through. This is about rewiring your mind. Invest in something. Now, it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. It could be a couple $100s, but make it enough that it's a worthwhile program. Again, you can get a book for $15, right? And books are amazing. Start there. But then there's going to be maybe another level to this that goes deeper, right? So for me, obviously my business, my practice is health. It's what I do. It's my life. It's my work. It's what I do. So I wrote the Rain Barrel Effect, and that will give you a plan. That gives you a starting point. Now, if you're not feeling well, you may decide then to run a lab, like the starter kit or the big 5, and figure out what's going on at a deeper level. And that gets you then into the game. If your goal is spirituality, you'll want to read books on spirituality. Then you may want to work with someone who's been through that particular situation before, a life coach, a mentor in that way. If your goal is relationships, you should study relationships. You should work with a dating or relationship-based coach or counselor for your marriage or anything that matters to you. You should do that. And sometimes, you know what? The first plan isn't the best plan, but investing in a plan made sure that you told your mind, you're ready to go. And of course, you have a plan that's worked for some people. Maybe it will work for you, maybe it won't, but it's worked for somebody. That's the thing. Like, look for plans that have worked for people and then work that plan. Many previous Motivation Mondays on this topic. The second was this. Find someone that you know will hold you accountable. Okay? But this is the truth. These things really work. And I want this for you. I want this year to be the year that you really dig in on your goals. Maybe you've set goals before, but maybe they just haven't come true. They haven't transpired, or you saw glimpses of it, but you weren't able to hold on to it. These steps will help you. Find someone that will hold you accountable. This year, I got somebody, I said, listen, I need somebody outside of my sphere, my people, my friends, my family. I need somebody to hold me accountable. This is what I want to do. It'll be coming true hopefully now in April. And I pushed back on them. I gave them all sorts of reasons why I didn't have the time. I didn't have the resources. I couldn't hire someone to get more in the company, like whatever it might be. All sorts of different excuses. I said, listen, this is when I want to do by. This is when you need to do it by. Show me the first iteration. And they did it in a cool, calm, and collected manner. They weren't yelling at me. They said, listen, do you want this or not? Do you want this or not? And if the answer is no, good, then we can end this. But if you want it, you're going to regret not doing it. You're going to regret at the end of this year if you let another year go by. So again, find someone who will hold you accountable. Now, maybe you hire the person because, again, there's more money in the game and you don't want to waste money. You want to be able to invest that into your life. It's an investment. That's how I look at these things. It's an investment. Now, of course, there are times in my life where I could make the investment, but I could find someone on the same path, right? I could find someone on the same path as me, and I said, listen, we're going to hold each other accountable. I did that for the gym many, many times. My buddy from college, I talk about it all the time, my buddy Jesse from college, we held each other accountable. Someone didn't want to work out one day, or they had, a lot of stuff they should be studying for. Let's just listen. I said, let's go to the gym. Okay, 1 hour. That's all we need. Let's get out of here. 1 hour will help clear our heads, or someone was too tired or went out too late the night before. The other person was banging at the door. Let's go. And I remember so many times too, as I'd be going out with all my friends, and Jesse would show up on Sunday morning at my dorm room, and he'd say, listen, let's go. And I'm like, no. I just literally woke up. I'm not going to the gym today. I'm not going to the gym. He said, let's go. Come on, we're going. And, his language was a bit more colorful. I'll save you that today. We'll keep this a family-friendly show. But I got, 99 out of 100 times I was there. And did I ever regret going? I don't think so. Not at the end of that work. I'm like, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it. You'll always be glad that you did it or tried. Was it always my best workout? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But was I glad I did it? I made it there, right? One more check mark right there. All right, number 3 is this. As you're finding someone to hold you accountable, begin to look for at that new group of people. I think I alluded to this last week on the podcast. I believe that I might have mentioned it on episode 1466, but one thing I can tell you is this, is that when you begin to hang around people who have a similar mindset to you, or even better, have already achieved what you want to achieve, it normalizes things. It's been one of the greatest secrets held back from other people. If you can join a group, a meetup, a mastermind of people that are already doing what you want to be doing, you meet these people and here's what you say. Oh, that person seems a lot like me. They were able to achieve this. They were able to get well. They were able to transform their body. They were able to improve their career. They were able to improve their finances, spirituality, etc. And you're like, yeah, this person's not that much different than me. If they can do it, why can't I? It is the greatest equalizer in life. I attribute so much success in all different areas to that. Is simply me leveling up by finding other people like, they've already done it. It's been proven now. I met the person who did it. That's the great thing about success stories. You meet the people who actually do it. Now, you can find these people at conferences. You can find them at seminars. Just begin to get out there. Just dip that toe in the water. Go to a seminar. You'll meet people. You really will. You'll meet a lot of people, great people. Some will be further ahead on their journey, and some will be a little further behind. Help the people that are a little further behind learn from the people that are ahead. 4th one is this. Narrow your focus on your goal. Again, these are all like secrets to success. They really are, because I never teach this. You can't use the shotgun spray approach. You have to look at this as laser focused. Okay, laser focused. If you have 1,000 different goals, I'm almost willing to bet none of them will come true, or if they do, it was just by chance and happenstance. Like it's not going to happen. If it or it's too easy, like if that's the thing. You have to laser in for a good 12 weeks on one goal. If it's important to you. Now, if it's not that important to you, you can have a couple goals. Like again, like you're like, oh, I want to start training for this. I want to do this. If they're not that big a deal, honestly, you can set a couple different goals. But if you have a must instead of just a want, your musts are just much more important. Like it must happen where, oh, it'd be nice if it happened. No. Your must need to be laser focused. So narrow your focus on that one thing and work towards it every day of your life. How many days? Every day. Every single day you do a little something to work towards that goal. Super important. The 5th part goes along with that. Taking full responsibility. Listen, there are things that pop up in life. There are things that are unexpected. This happened. Kids are sick. Parents are sick. You're not doing well. Relationship isn't going well. Didn't get the promotion you thought, etc., etc. Take full responsibility. Listen, nobody else can change your life except for you. I've never seen it happen. Never seen it. You can get great advice. You can follow great plans. You can have someone hold you accountable, hang around other people, but you still have to, at the end of the day, do the work. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I never sugarcoat it. And that's because I want you to really achieve your goals. And so really, I want to talk about this on a future show, but on the other side of that work is your goal. On the other side of the actions and the doing are your goals. It really is. It's just the way that you can shortcut that is by having a true blueprint to success. Because you're going to do the actions anyways. Every day you're taking actions. Are you taking the right actions? That's what matters. But take full responsibility. Listen, if something's not going well, you don't have to say, oh, I'm blaming myself. It's so bad. No, just listen, it's not going well. Don't blame it on anybody else. Okay? Don't blame it on anybody else. When it's going well, don't give the credit necessarily to somebody else. Give it to yourself. Okay? Move forward. You can thank many, many other people. There's no doubt about it. I thank and I'm grateful every single day as I look at my bookshelf. It's one of the reasons why I have my books still. I don't have all of them because I wasn't really collecting them until maybe like 2010, 2011. Before that, I had no place to put them and I would take them off from the library, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason why I have them is it's a tribute. These are people that I learned from. They're virtual-based mentors. They taught me. Right? My mentor, Dr. Pete, taught me. When I went overseas, all of those people taught me. But I still did the work. I still made the trips. I still took the bus ride to Maine for that first meeting with my mentor. Right? I still did the work. And that's why I want you to just say, you might not even know where you're going, but take that first step. I didn't know what was going to happen when I hopped on that Greyhound bus or that Peter Pan bus to Maine. I didn't know 3 hours later that I'd be sitting in that Barnes & Noble bookstore in the cafe talking with who would eventually become the person that pulled everything together for me. I didn't know that. I had no idea. But I took that first step. So taking responsibility. Listen, I was sick. I wasn't doing well. I blamed a lot of other people and a lot of other things for many years. It was finally my time to take full responsibility. Number 6 is this. Assess the situation, assess the problems, and begin to look at those problems not as roadblocks. So a roadblock is something you can't get around, right? You're in your car, you hit a roadblock. Well, you can't run through it. It's just not going to happen. But in life, things are different. You can look at that problem as an obstacle to overcome or simply a challenge. Okay, so your goal is to lose 50 pounds, 60 pounds. You just lost 25 and now you've plateaued. What do we do? Do we give up? We say, oh, this is the most I can lose. It's just genetics from hair. There's nothing I can do. I've done everything I can at exercise. I've done everything I can with diet. It's just the way that it is. I can't lose that extra 30 pounds or so. You could say that. That's a roadblock. You're not able to go through it. Or you could look at this as a challenge, as an obstacle. Okay, when I follow a weight loss plan, I typically plateau after about 25 pounds weight loss. Okay, good. Well, you've made it this far. You've done a great job. You're about halfway there. What do we do now? Well, now we need to look at the less obvious. That's it. You've done the obvious. Now we need to look at the less obvious. Detoxification, hormonal balance, inflammation. We need to look at the things that are less obvious, right? Thermogenesis, higher levels of cortisol, estrogen dominance, low thyroid, low vitamin D. Believe me, there are people out there who know how to help you lose the rest of the weight. And that's what you can do, right? So look at it as an obstacle. You can figure it out. There's no doubt about it. Now, things aren't always obvious. I mean, sometimes I wish things were more obvious for me, but it's part of the journey. If everything was so obvious, honestly, there'd be no challenges. There'd be no excitement in life. There'd be no passion because there'd be nothing to overcome. If everything was a given, what's the fun? Honestly, where's the enjoyment? You accomplish things too quickly that way. Learn along the way. I'll be getting into that one. All right, number 7 is this. Offer more solutions than problems. I read this quote many, many years ago. Actually, it was a friend from Newburyport, and inside their house, they had this really nice quote. And it says that, I always want to hear more solutions than problems. So meaning that people can raise as many problems as they'd like, as long as they follow it up with more solutions than problems. So let's say, okay, you plateaued at that 25 pounds. All right, this is the maximum that diet and exercise got me. Now, what else do I have to do? All right, there's a solution. So now we can pose, or we can at least think about the solution. And you start to ask questions. Could it be hormonal? Could it be adrenal-based? Could it be inflammatory-based? Could it be digestive-based? What's the reason? And start to offer potential solutions. Well, I could start to run a lab for this, for a digestive-based lab, or I could run a hormonal-based lab, or I could start a detox-based protocol. Start to work through solutions. You don't have to figure it out immediately, but you need to start coming up with more solutions than you have problems, because problems fill your mind with how you're not going to make it happen. Solutions allow you to start to think of possibilities. Possibilities allow you to move forward. Number 8 is this: crowd out distractions. In life, when you want to improve relationships, let's say, if you are always being asked by coworkers and friends and family to go out and hang out, but you are trying to improve the relationship with your spouse or partner or whomever it might be, you have to sometimes say no. And it doesn't mean no forever. It means no right now. No right now as I'm working towards my goal. And if it's relationship-wise, you're going to put more time, energy, effort, thought, and taking that person out or doing nice things for the person that you're trying to deepen that relationship for. So sometimes there has to be a no in life to other things. If you are always saying yes to everyone else, you are saying no to yourself. I try to find a happy balance with that. But if I'm focused on something that I believe is going to better me and allow me to better my family or better the work that I do that's also going to serve others, I'm okay with saying no. I really am. I used to not be very good at it, but now I say in a nice way, I'm sorry, right now my schedule does not allow for that, but let's check back in 6 weeks. It's not a no forever. It's right now I have to stay focused on this. And again, there's a time and place for everything. You don't say no to everyone and everything, but you're being more selective. And that's very, very important. More selective. Okay, if it's not critical right now, you have a must-have goal, then it's not as important, right? If going out with your friends after work is keeping you from going to the gym and your goal is weight loss, it's a no for right now. You're focused on your goal. Number 9 is this: make decisions faster. Okay? Here's why. The likelihood that you're going to get everything right the first time is so low. 1%, 2%. Literally. I can't think of anything that I've done that's a worthwhile goal that I got right the first time. So if I'm not going to get it right on the first time, I make an educated guess. I make a guess that I believe is going to get me the next step closer to my goal. Not the guess that or the decision that this is going to solve everything. No. I don't think like that at all anymore. I always tell my team, I think in terms of iterations. This is our first iteration. This is our first time doing this. It's not going to be perfect. So please do not spend 5 times the amount of time thinking about it, designing it, etc., etc. There's a time and place for journaling. There's a time and place for penning your thoughts on paper, but there's more time and more time needed for action. So make decisions faster, sleep on big decisions, no doubt about it, but move forward faster, and here's why. It allows you to implement step number 10. Step number 10 is keep it in mind that the goal is always progress and never perfection. For the first 25 years of my life, I would say, or so, I was dramatically holding myself back because everything had to be perfect. I would just simply never start anything if it wasn't going to be perfect. So here's what I want for you. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes. Seek results. That's it. The results may be good. They may be bad at times. That's okay. Either way, you're going to learn from them. You're going to grow and you're going to move forward because there's no way you're getting it right out of the gates. So the goal is always progress, always moving forward. Even when you achieve what you thought was your goal, trust me, you're going to say, if I was able to achieve this, I now want to go for this. That's the beautiful thing about setting goals. They're your own. First, accomplish what you believed you wanted out of life. And then allow yourself to enjoy the moment. Enjoy the fact that you did it. You put forth the efforts. You worked towards progress, not perfection. You understand that there would be many failures along the way towards achieving your ultimate dreams, goals, and hopes. And if you focus on this type of mindset, you're also going to be happier because when you do mess up, when there is a little mini failure, you'll understand, listen, I learned now one more way that isn't going to work. And as I always say, there are only so many ways you need to try before you get it right. There's only so many avenues to take. I mean, there aren't that many. I talk about it with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, hypothyroidism. There's only ever about 6 to 12 things that you need to work through. So if you try to make those mistakes faster, you will make faster progress because you'll be learning also which ways don't work. Narrow those down, remove those, move on to the next one. All about progress, never about perfection. Remember, follow these 10 steps. If you follow these 10 steps, you're going to be happier. You're going to enjoy the journey a lot more. And yes, you absolutely will achieve anything you set your mind to. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Please, as always, feel free to pass the show along to anyone you believe it will serve. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.